I'd like to call this December 10th council meeting to order. Everybody please rise for a moment of silence. And let's remember all of those who passed away during the month. And we also have tonight A.J. Olzak and Kyle Solman, who's here from Troop 121 to do our Pledge Allegiance.
Flag face. Oh, please present the colors of the United States of America. Please present the Bristol Borough town flag. Now, if you would please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Color Guard retreat.
You guys did a great job. And now I'd like to introduce Rosemary Magoni Stutsky, who's a tradition here every year to sing some Christmas carols.
Christmas is coming, the goose is getting fat. Please to put a penny in an old man's hat. Please to put a penny in an old man's hat. If you haven't got a penny, a halfpenny will do. If you haven't got a halfpenny, then God bless you. Thank you very much for inviting me once again this year to do some caroling with all of you. If you haven't gotten a paper, they're right outside the door. And anyone who knows me knows I hate to sing by myself, so please join in. Our first song is Deck the Halls, and as you can see, this hall, as well as all around the whole building, including the outside, looks gorgeous, and we all should be very proud of this beautiful borough hall. Deck the halls with bells of holly, la 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 la. 'Tis the season to be jolly, fa la 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 la. Don we now our gay apparel, fa la 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 la. Troll the ancient Yuletide carol, fa la 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 la. See the blazing Yule before us, fa la 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 la. Strike the harp and join the chorus, fa la 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 la. Follow me in merry measure, fa la 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 la. While I tell of Yuletide treasure, fa la 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 la. Fast away the old year passes, fa la 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 la. Hail the new year, lads and lasses, fa la 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 la. Sing we joyous all together, fa la 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 la. Heedless of the wind and weather, fa la 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 la. Our next song is Jingle Bells. For some of you may not know, but Jingle Bells was actually written as a Thanksgiving song, where you go over the river and through the woods to the grandmother who knew how to cook the turkey. And nowadays, of course, we go by cars, but wouldn't it be fun? This eventually became a Christmas song, and no one sings it for Thanksgiving anymore. dashing through the snow in the one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing one sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. A day or two ago, I thought I'd take a ride, and soon Miss Fanny Bride was seated by my side. The horse was lean and lank, misfortune seems his lot. We ran into a drifted bank, and there we got upside. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Now, there's also a holiday of Hanukkah that is just concluding this evening, I believe. And they play a little game called the Dreidel game, and it's a top, and when the top spins down, whoever it's facing with that Hebrew letter on it gets to win the prize. I have a little dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. Oh, dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. It has a lovely body, with legs so short and thin, and when my dreidel's tired, it drops and then I win. Oh, dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. My dreidel's always playful, it loves to dance and spin. A happy game of dreidel, come play now, let's begin. Oh, dreidel, I made it out of clay, and when it's dry and ready, then dreidel I shall play. One of the songs that is most translated in as many languages as the world seems to have is Silent Night. Silent night, holy night, all is calm, all is bright, round young virgin, mother and child, holy infant, so tender and mild, sleep in heavenly peace. this year, at our tree lighting ceremony, which was, by the way, wonderful, I had the privilege of singing with Santa. My husband and I got to sing right next to Santa this year. And Santa's favorite song he whispered to me was, "There was Dasher and Dancer and Prancer and Vixen, Comet and Cupid and Donner and Blitzen. But do you recall the most famous reindeer of all? Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer had a very shiny nose.
Shiny nose.
And if you ever saw it, you would even say it glows.
It glows.
All of the other
Reindeers.
used to laugh and call him names.
All the names.
They never let poor Rudolph join in any reindeer games.
Reindeer games.
Then one foggy Christmas Eve, Santa came to say, let's hear it, folks. Rudolph, with your nose so bright, won't you guide my sleigh tonight? Then how the reindeer loved him as they shouted out with glee.
With glee.
Rudolph the red-nosed reindeer, you'll go down in history.
Three.
You know, singing with Santa was pretty exciting, but almost as good as when I sing with Ralph. There are many churches in Bristol, and I know that at the end of all their services at Christmas, they'll be singing this song. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room. And heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love. And finally, to end all of them, we always sing, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We want some figgy pudding, we want some figgy pudding, we want some figgy pudding and a cup of good cheer. We won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, we won't go until we get some, so bring it out here. We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. You know the Italians, we have to say this and everything.
Puerto Ricans do too.
Nothing wrong with that.
Mr. Singing.
Let's start out. We're going one more time.
He missed it.
Let's go again.
Give him one song.
Go again.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Day, 1, 2. That's all your.
She's going to beat me.
Okay. So, public participation. Anybody on this side of the room want to speak on anything? Andy and Daniel? Just let me see if anybody in the public has anything first. Anybody on this side of the room? Okay, that ends public participation. So why don't you two guys go to the podium?
I want to thank you very much. I'd like to take this opportunity to hand out a few maps around the room, if I may. The circuit maps, which are the trails in the general vicinity, the whole region.
While Andy's handing out the maps, I just would like to introduce Daniel Pascal. He's the Middle Atlantic Coordinator for the East Coast Greenway. And Andrew Hamilton is the Chairman of the Pennsylvania DCNR Trail Advisory Committee and the Bucks County Bicycle Task Force, and the Chairman Board of Directors of the September 11th National Memorial Trail.
Thank you, Jim. And Daniel and I are here tonight to talk to you about the circuit trails, but I'm going to preface it and then hand it over to Daniel. I was the Mid-Atlantic Coordinator for the East Coast Greenway, and I have met here before in that capacity, and my baton has been passed to Daniel, and he is now that individual. Trails are an amazing opportunity for the communities that they go through. They're phenomenal. They create and this struck me in Bristol Borough about 8 years ago, when I happened to be walking down a trail, and there was a couple couples and a couple dogs, and they said, gosh, they were just walking, a beautiful early spring day. I haven't seen you since last fall. It's so good to see you. How's the family? It's the place where people meet. It's also a wonderful economic opportunity for every community it goes through, especially regional trails. And what Daniel will speak to today is a massive system of regional trails, which many organizations and communities are part of. But one takeaway that is very important is the economic opportunity that's developed by trails. With the reality that housing, residential units that are in proximity to trails actually do have a much higher resale value when they're large trails. That's a reality today. And as everything gets connected, which Daniel will talk about, it's going to mean something really significant for Bristol. Bristol is really in a point, just like this juncture of trails that are coming in 5 years, 3 years, and 20 years. So if you think about the D&L Canal, if you think about all the work happening in Philadelphia, you think about the future work coming down along the Neshaminy Creek, Bristol is the historic borough that can sit here capitalizing on that opportunity, especially with all the work that has been done along the waterfront and what you're working on, continue to work on in the waterfront. And I don't want to take any more of your time on this wonderful night. I want to hand the baton to Daniel, as I have professionally, and let him speak directly about the circuit and what it's doing in the area.
Thank you. So yeah, as hopefully some may be familiar with, but others it might be new to them. The circuit trails is a web of trails. So these are prominent trails, some that exist already, like the D&L Canal Trail, and some that are planned, for example, along the Neshaminy Creek. And together, these create a network, and it actually will, make it so much more possible to move about without having to jump in your car and pack in the bikes and pack in all the stuff, but you could actually leave, from your house, bike to the nearest trail, and then you could go, run an errand, you could go to the ice cream shop, you can actually get to where you need to go, so that the network actually activates all of these. It's greater than the sum of its parts. And as you can see on the maps, if any of you have them, there's a lot of dotted lines, and those dotted lines are what we're working on filling in. These are the ones in planning. Some of them are further along than others. Some of them are about to be open in a matter of months or years. So those will be coming up, and that's that's where this vision is really important to have support from across the whole region. So this Philadelphia metro region already has 88 municipalities that have signed on to this resolution to support the completion of these trails, and Bristol Borough will be the 89th. We have every county but one. We're working on getting the entire Delaware Valley Regional Planning Commission's region all on board. So at the county level, the local level, so that this kind of support can be, shown in solidarity when we're looking to get funding from state level agencies, from the federal level, and also from foundations. We're really lucky to have strong support from the William Penn Foundation in the region, and they're really looking at this whole entire watershed of the Delaware River. So there's assets along this, like the Delaware Canal, that are both historical, natural, but also very communal. So all this kind of comes together on these trails, and as part of that, it's also a national, at the national scale. So the East Coast Greenway connects into this network in the greater Philadelphia area, and we're working with other groups in other cities up and down the coast, from Maine all the way to Florida. And it's a 3,000-mile long trail that's much like the Appalachian Trail, is connecting across states. It's about a third complete already, so you have pieces of trail, which includes the Delaware and Lehigh Canal Trail right here. So we're working with folks in DC and Boston and Miami, and this is happening up and down the coast. So it's really based on local efforts, though. It all starts here. So we really appreciate your support, and we hope to continue to work with folks in the area to get these built.
Well,
Thank you.
First of all, we want to thank you for trying to move this along. And we know how important it is to connect these trails. A lot of people use them. We just had a state senator this summer start in Bristol and end up in Easton.
DCHAC.
DCHAC, that's
Great.
it.
Yeah, it's there. Here.
So it'd be nice to see it open.
Great. Thank you.
So that's what number 3 is on the agenda. All right, Mayor.
I don't have any mayor's business tonight, other than I just want to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas and a safe and joyous New Year, and thank the council for their support during the course of the year, and also to all our employees who did an outstanding job. I'm a little partial, especially the police and fire departments. So with that, Merry Christmas.
Okay. So we'll start with number 3 on the agenda. Can I get a motion?
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt a resolution endorsing circuit walking and bicycle trails, complete 500 miles of trails in the greater Philadelphia region by 2025. Daniel Pasquale, Mid-Atlantic Coordinator for East Coast Greenway. Andrew Hamilton, Chairman of PADCNR Trail Advisory Committee, and the Bucks County Bicycle Task Force, and the Chairman of the Board of Directors of September 11th National Memorial.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments?
I actually have a quick question. I don't know if it's one that you could answer. Just curious as to like the hyper-local examples of like what you envision coming in and out of Bristol Borough.
So if you have a map, you can take a look at the ones just to the north here, which exist on the Delaware Canal.
Right.
And so we're working on getting a connection just to the south to go down through Ben Salem and into Philadelphia along the Delaware River.
Along the river. So somewhere probably back near like the bridge, the old Dow Chemical property.
Right, so working our way around that.
Right.
The ultimate vision would be along that levee. I think that's been the plan for a long time.
Right, and there's phased approaches as well, and that could mean some work being done on the state road itself. Some of that is ongoing in the Ben Salem and Bristol area, and then to realize that in
You want to go to the podium because they're not hearing you at home.
Sorry.
between, very shortly, if not already, and I apologize, I've been away from it for about a year, Philadelphia will have built a trail essentially from Center City along the Delaware River to the Bucks County border. And some of that is bike lanes, but it's all facilities. So the reality is everything's coming right to Bristol very soon. And, you know, the network of building things through Bristol, I'll be going on the Delaware and Lehigh National Heritage Board in January, and we'll be, you know, working on all aspects of that, and in Bristol as well. So trying to get the trail to work a little bit better in Bristol where there is trail, and it's a little disjunctive. Those sorts of things will be occurring, but we don't have that laid out on paper at this
Okay,
time.
okay, thank you.
Two of the major natural resources too that are immediately already in existence but very isolated are the Croydon Woods and the Bristol Marsh. So Heritage Conservancy is a nonprofit that's working to create a trail connection that would be a part of this circuit network and East Coast Greenway that would come into Bristol so that you could get to the woods from the marsh without having to drive, which is not far.
Thank you.
Any other questions on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 4.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion for the approval of the council meeting minutes for 11/12/18, 11/19/18. Accept the treasurer's report for October of 2018. Accept the police and DJ's report for November of 2018. Accept the fire chief's report for November of 2018. Accept the inspection department report for November of 2018. And accept the public works department report for November of 2018.
Do I have a second? Ms. Collins, questions or comments? Mr. Devine?
The only question, why are we going straight to an agenda meeting and not our work session?
We really didn't have a lot on the agenda. We had a budget meeting, and basically hardly anybody showed up. And the manager was out sick, everybody knows that, so in November, we couldn't meet because he couldn't get everything ready in time. But I'm sure starting January, we'll be back to our 2 meetings a month. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 5.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the 2019 municipal budget as advertised.
Second by Mr. Catroci. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 6.
I'd like to make a motion to adopt the ordinance imposing assessment for the removal of garbage and refuse within Bristol Borough for the year 2019.
Second by Ms. Rodriguez. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Number 7.
Mr. President, I'd like to make a motion to adopt ordinance fixing the tax rates for the 2019 fiscal year.
Second by Ms. Rodriguez. Questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Before we adjourn, I would like to wish everybody a healthy and happy Christmas and a healthy and happy New Year. Ms. Rodriguez?
I just want to let everybody know in the West 3 that PICO is having an open house to discuss the northeast parcel final report and the House Street parcel RIR cleanup plan is anticipated to be held in January 2019, and I wanted the residents to know.
Anything else before we adjourn? Merry Christmas to everybody and healthy and happy New Year. Can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.